So as discussed, we'll go through kind of whatever we discussed earlier, whatever the topics we discussed, like filters, hierarchies, groups, set, actions, right? Actions we didn't come. But yes, if you have any questions, I'll explain for sure. And quickly we'll go through each and everything, whatever the time permits. Okay? But parallel, you can ask any questions, okay? The first important point is like we have extensions, correct? So we have different types of extensions while saving the Tableau workbook. We have .twb versus .twbx, okay? So we have extensions. One of the important points here is like with the Tableau package workbook, it will save, it will store all the external files, correct? So that's very important. Importantly, like we have the .tde, which is an extract. It is also going to store the extract files and also images. Clear all? So that's one point. And importantly, we have gone through live and extract. So .tds versus .tde. So why we go for extract connection is, as you know, extract helps a lot for improving the performance, okay? And we have to refresh the extract file to get updated data, correct? And we have seen that, and we have modified the superstore data. We inserted some part of data, and we have gone through the differentiation between full refresh and incremental refresh, correct? So that's one important point we have gone through, and each and everything we tested, right? So we loaded some part of data, and we have gone through like full refresh and incremental refresh. Got it? So this is one important point where, so there are cases where we will go for full refresh. Okay, so most of the times we will go for full refresh, and we can load the data into .td files. Got it? So those are the important topics in extensions, live connection and extract connection, and we have Tableau workbook versus Tableau package workbook. So one important thing is like remember like we have an option to go for write a custom SQL, correct? We have Microsoft SQL Server, these types of connections, correct? But I have Microsoft Access database. We can connect to sample coffee chain, okay? We have this sample coffee chain database. Initially I have shared over the email. So one of the advantage, and we have seen probably one of the assignment, I think, okay? So here we have filters, but so whenever you are going to pull any particular table here, if you're not aware of writing the custom SQL initially, just drag and drop a table. And as I said, you can go to data, convert to custom SQL, correct? So this is the SQL here, and you can modify based on your requirement. Understand, right? Let's say if you have multiple tables, let's say I have a fact table and, right? So we have a relationship between fact table and location table. So in the location table, we have, just checking the view data, I'm not sure why it is. It's taking time. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So when you drop location table, what are all the columns you have? Area code, state, market, and market size, correct? In the fact table also we have area code, okay? So when you drag and drop fact table, we have, if you look into this, or even we have this metadata columns, right? Straight away you can go through what are all the fields we have in the fact table. We have area code, correct? So we have area code in fact table and also in the location table. So when you double click, because it's kind of a snowflake schema, okay? So when you double click, you can drag and drop location table here, and by default you can see the joins between these two tables, correct? Which is very important. And just click on this, and you can understand what are all the, what is the common key column between these two tables. So by default, Tableau identifies the common, based on the naming convention, okay? It's not like the common key column. It's not like a primary key or a foreign key, something like that. So based on the same naming convention, we'll get the common key column, correct? The join. If you want to change, instead of area code, if you want to go for market, and if you have a same market here, that's fine. You can establish a relationship between these two. So, but default, we are good with area code now, understand, right? And now, you can go back to data. If you have two tables, how many joins you are going to get?
The one.
Yes. If you have n number of tables, we'll get n minus 1 joins, right? Go back to data, convert to custom SQL. So you don't worry about all this, like, because we have a lot of columns in the fact table. But this is what select star, all the columns, right, from fact table and the location table. Okay, so you're getting all the columns from fact table and location table, and you can see one join, inner join between fact table and location table. So this is very important, right? So fact table dot area code equal to location table dot area code. Clear on? So that way you can copy this code, and if you want to modify, let's say additionally, if you want to add a where clause, you can add a where clause. Let's say where market equal to we have market right here. Market and region is same, like we have market equal to central, or market equal to south or east or west. So additionally, you can modify the SQL according to your requirement. Understand, right? So this is one thing where you can make use of the custom SQL, or as I said, you can straight away, okay, you can remove this. Just try to pull this custom SQL and write select star from table name. Let's say I want to load location table. Location. Okay, just click OK. You're able to load the location table, correct? Clear all? So that's what my point. Like, if you are not aware of custom SQL, try to pull a table and you can convert into custom SQL. Understand that? Data, convert into custom SQL, and you can modify this existing SQL. Perfect. Clear all? And importantly, we have gone through like rows, columns, marks card, pages, right? But anyhow, we are using rows and columns on a daily basis, and we do have marks card on a daily basis. Correct. So we are using this color, size, text, everything. But the next important concept we discussed is filters. So what are all the different types of filters you have? Like pick filter, data source filter, filters on dimensions, measures, and date, and global filter, cascading, and context filter. Any questions on this types of filters? Anyhow, I'll quickly go through a few things, but let me know if you have any questions so far. Any questions? I'll extend this class today, so no worries. All good? So basically, why we go for filters? What is the advantage of filters? Hello? What is the advantage of filters? Why we use filters? Let's put aside the different types of filters we have, but why we go for filters? Anyone?
What was the question again?
No, what is the use of filters? Why do we use filters in general in Tableau?
So, in general terms, I think it helps reduce the data to maybe a specific area of interest that we want to focus on.
That's good. Still
Sometimes we can use it to, minimize or compress the data, the size, make it more, efficient.
Perfect. Yeah. Both are the same. Like, why do we use filters in the sense? Based on the requirement, we'll restrict some part of data. Or sometimes we may have huge number of records and we can go through some specific information, right? And and there are cases where we do have a lot of data. And for the project requirements, we have to restrict some part of data. We're going to apply filter condition. Correct. So, the definition is like to restrict unwanted data is called as a filter condition. And in general, whenever you're going to write a custom SQL, when we use custom SQL, we can apply where clause of the SQL, right? In the SQL, we do use where clause to apply filter condition. Most of the cases. Perfect. So importantly, we have seen these are the types of filters. But the advantage of pick filter, that means, as I said, that show filter is we have an option to go for, as I said, right, like when you publish into server and this is what the This is what actual view when the user executes the report. Okay, they don't have access to editing the filter, modifying those rows and columns. Understand, right? So if you provide the quick filter functionality, they can select some part of data or they can unselect. Correct. So that's one important point here. Perfect. So this is what quick filter. But what exactly the options we have is, importantly, again we have multiple options, right? We can go for single value list, and if you want to provide only single selection, right, we can go for single value list. Perfect. And if you want to go for drop down for single selection, we can go for single value drop down. So most of the cases we use drop downs, multiple values drop down and single value drop down. Okay. So the advantage of drop down is to save the space. Understand, right? And there is an option called as even. One of the option in real time is when you unselect, straight away you can see the data is it's reflecting directly in the sheet level. Correct. Whenever I'm going to do unselecting the filter here, some part of data. Correct. But there is an option called as customize show apply button if it is a multi-selection. Okay. So when you click on this drop down, so you have an option called as apply button. What exactly this is? Let me go back to presentation mode. See, I'm going to unselect some part of data here. Even you unselecting here in the filter, it's not reflecting, right, in the sheet level. So you can do your own, like whatever the selection, right? You can unselect all, click apply. Perfect. Now it is got apply. So that's what the option we have. It depends. It's not mandatory to go for it, but there are cases where in few of the projects we used show apply button, where exactly it is like in the customize show apply button. Correct. Perfect. Understand, right? Customize show apply button. So when you unselect some part of data, it won't reflect directly. You have to click apply. So this is what we have quick filters. As I said, we have options to go for single selection or multi-selection. And importantly, we have like filters on dimensions. In the filters on dimensions, as you know, we have general, wildcard, condition, and top. In general, like if you want to select some part of data, we can use general tab. What is the advantage of wildcard? This is what we have seen, right? The advantage of wildcard is like basically you have an option to go for starts with, ends with, and contains. Correct. Wildcard match. Remember these options, right? So if you have some customer name, correct, we have gone through customer name and sales information, and we used wildcard match. And those options, whatever the options we discussed, right? Let's say Adam. So when you type in Adam, this will give you contains. Correct. Even you can type in from here and edit, check in the edit filter, wildcard, you can see contains. But when you say, like if you want to fetch only the data starts with Adam, you can go for Adam star. Perfect. Understand it? Exactly, I want to fetch only the customer name starts with Adam. Yeah, you can make use of Adam star, which is starts with. Edit filter, you can see it is also reflecting here, starts with. Let's say if you want to fetch only the customer name ends with. Example, we have seen sun, right? When you click on sun, when you type in sun, search, we are getting 44 rows, correct? But there are few records which is not ends with sun. There is one record here is one more record, here it is. In that case, we can use star sun. So initially we are getting 44 rows, but when you click enter, you can able to see 38 records. And these are all the customers whose name ends with sun, like Thompson, Patterson, Ferguson, Johnson, right? Stevenson, Nelson. Clear all? So wildcard match, it helps to apply, it's not a straightforward filter condition, but it helps a lot to get specific data. If it is the data type is string, for sure it helps a lot to apply those filter conditions based on the naming convention. Clear all? This is one thing we have seen, and importantly, we have condition and top, right? Condition and top. So what exactly the condition we have? So basically, like let's say, let me remove this. To get more clarification on the data, right? So let's say the level of granularity. So I'll sort it out. So let's say if you want to fetch some part of data, like if you want to write a condition, you have multiple options, right? You can edit filter, go to condition, by field. If you want to know what exactly the minimum value and maximum value, click on load. Let's say if you want to fetch sales greater than 2 lakhs, okay, 200k. you can go through the condition and you can apply condition sum of sales greater than or equal to 200k. Even you can type in by using the formula. Okay, it's up to you, like whether if you want to prefer formula or not. But the first option is straightforward, which is easy, right? But here you have to type in with aggregation sum of sales greater than or equal to, let's say, 100k. I can see we're getting sales greater than 100k. Understand, right? So we have, in general, in the filters on dimension, we have wildcard match and the condition. Clear all? And the other option is, we have top and bottom. So if you want to fetch top 5 or bottom 5, any one of the option, yes, we can prefer edit filter, like go to top. Let's say I want to fetch top 5 by sum of sales, click apply, you'll get top 5. If you want to get bottom 5, you have a drop down to select bottom 5 and see the numbers here. It will change to bottom 5. But you remember, right, we have gone through one of the concept where we can display both top 5 and bottom 5 in one single sheet. What exactly the concept? Which concept helps to fetch both top 5 and bottom 5 in one single sheet?
Is it fetch?
Perfect, yes. Yes. And we have filters on measures, correct? We have filters on dimensions, filters on measures. Basically, we have an option straight away. You can see when you have an aggregated value like sum of sales, click on show filter, you'll get range of values, right? But when you edit the filter, you'll get range of values, at least, at most. This is pretty simple, straightforward, where you can select minimum value and maximum value. Understand, right? You can select minimum value and maximum value, or if you want to select only minimum value, you can go for at least. If you want to select maximum value, you can go for at most. I do feel that's pretty straightforward. And importantly, we discussed filters on date, okay? So this is what filters on measures, range of values, at least and at most. And we have filters on date column. So importantly for date filtering, like we have related date and range of dates, correct? So the data type is very important while discussing all these types of filters. Like filters on dimension is like, if the data type is string, you'll get those options. And measures, we have a separate filter, right? We have range of values. But if the data type is date column, when you drag and drop date, order date into filter, you have two options. Apart from the individual dates, you have a couple of options here like relate to date and range of dates. So what exactly with the range of dates here? See, filters on measures and range of dates, it's almost the same, right? You have a slider. But with the order date, where we are using range of dates, when you click on this date, you have a flexibility to select start date and end date, correct? Clear on? Any questions on this? You can select a start date, specific date, and when you click on month, you'll get a drop down to select specific month. Even you can type in, okay? You can pass a value, you can type in manually. Perfect. You can change the date from here straight away. Because with the slider, as I said, right, exactly, I don't know, you cannot fix or you cannot select the exact date. Let's say I want to see January 1st, 2021, okay? And let me try to select January 1st, 2021. So we are able to select January 7th, 2021. But, so if you want to go for a exactly perfect, like particular date, you can use drop down and select specific date, which helps a lot.
Ramesh?
Yes.
I understand where you got into, but how did you get the category and the subcategory on your right hand side?
These two, right?
Yes, those two.
See, you can simply bring down here, okay? So you can manually see, you can move to here, or even you can place here, okay? You can adjust those things actually. Drag and drop. So, or even
Okay.
you are getting a line, right? If it is below order date, you can see a border here. You can place here, or you can move to left to the sum of sales and drop below this category here. You can adjust.
Okay. So before you drag it to that to the right hand side, you dragged it from the filter, or you just took it from the
You can
dimension code?
Yes, you can simply select my show filter. Initially, let's say consider that we don't have any category and subcategory filter.
Yeah.
We have to show filter, right? Quick filter, and this one is also show filter. Now you can drag to left side. Okay.
Okay.
The line, right, where you can see here it's placed. Again, you can drop below category here.
Alright, okay, thanks.
Any questions? So we have order date, the range of values and range of dates. When it comes like range of dates, where you have an option to select minimum value and maximum value, start date and end date. So that's the advantage with range of values. If you want to select a particular range, you can select start date and end date. Correct. But what exactly the range of dates? Range of date is one of the important filter. Let me drop here. Range of dates, it has to be, we are using the same column, right? That's the reason we can modify the existing filter. So range of dates advantage is even you can go for year level, quarter, month, weeks or days. So this is one single filter where it helps a lot to select a specific level of granularity. Let's say year level, I want to see current year sales or previous year, or if you want to, let's drag and drop order date into columns, okay? We'll get all the years. So here you have this year, you're getting 2022. When you select previous year, you can see 2021. Correct. Let's say I want to see last 3 years of sales. Now I can go for last 3 years of sales. We can increase this number. So not only year level, we can go for last 3 quarters, last 4 quarters, right? Right, you can drill down. This when you click on plus symbol, if you want to know what exactly the 4 quarters, you can see. In 2022, we have Q1 and Q2. In 2021, we are getting Q3 and Q4. These are the last 4 quarters. Because if you don't put quarter level, you didn't understand, you do feel that, okay, we are getting 2 years of data. Understand, right? But when you drill down, you'll understand, okay, in 2022, we are getting only 2 quarters. In 2021, we are able to see Q3 and Q4. That's 4 quarters of data. Perfect. So we can go for this quarter, previous quarter, this year, previous year. That's advantage here with the relative date. But if you want to go for specific range of dates like start date and end date, you can go for range of dates. But what is the advantage of relative date? You can select current year, previous year. See, every time when you run the report, I want to see exactly this year data. You can make use of this particular filter. This is very simple. Even I'm going to showcase some date related functions like date differentiation, which helps a lot to write a calculation, right? Even we can use calculator fields to get current year or previous year. So those kind of functionality, we'll go through that, okay? Once we start the functions. Perfect. That's a relative date. And we have range of dates. Clear all? So this one option. And importantly, there are other types of filters like global filter and cascading and context filter, right? As you know, the advantage of global filter is by default, when you use filters, this will applicable to only that specific sheet. But if you want to use the same filter condition applied to multiple worksheets or all the worksheets using a specific data source, you can make use of all using this data source. You can see the symbol here, right? When you convert into, whenever you are going to use all using this data source, you can see the differentiation in the symbol. So this category filter is a global filter where it is applicable to all the sheets which we created on top of sample superstore. But let's say if you, let's understand, okay? We got category filter in the sheet 2 as well. Let me double click on category. By default, you can see you are getting category filter, right? Because we are creating sheet on top of sample superstore. But whenever you are going to create any of the sheet using the coffee chain data, let's see whether you are able to see the filter or not. So default it's getting the, let me drop, okay? So this is the area code by sales, but you are unable to see the category filter because we applied all using the same data source, okay? Like all using this data source. Understand, right? So I'll come back to this in data blending concept, okay? What exactly the related data source or cross database join. There's a important concept, right? So we'll discuss after parameters. After completion of actions, we'll go through parameters. There we'll discuss what exactly the related data source. So in the global filter, we have an option to apply the filter across multiple sheets, or even you can target specific sheets, right? Apply to worksheet, select a worksheet, see specific sheets, sheet 2. You can see the symbol here. This is all using this data source option. And you can see the sheet symbol, right? This is specific worksheets. Clear all? Any questions so far?
So far, so good.
So importantly, we have cascading filter. What exactly the cascading filter is? I'll go through a quick example. Like, as you know, we have, like, let's consider like kind of a parent and child relationship. Yeah, I mean, whenever you're going to apply the filter, this will applicable to the sheet level. See, I'm dropping to the left side of the subcategory. So when you unselect furniture, this is working for the furniture. I mean, the sheet level, right? We don't have furniture data in our sheet, right? We unselected furniture. But what exactly the issue is, when you unselect furniture, office supplies, we are showing only technology. But in the subcategory filter, if you want to filter out some part of data, even though in the technology related subcategories, we are able to see all the subcategories, right? Why should we display all the records related to, in the subcategory, right? In the sheet level, it looks good, but in the filter, we are still displaying all the values. That's the option here, all values in database. But if you want to display only the relevant data, that is what the concept called as cascading filter. When you select office supplies, this will give you both, technology and office supplies related subcategories. When you select furniture, this will give you the furniture, all the categories related information. When you unselect all, no data here in the subcategory, you can see. Perfect. So this way, it helps a lot. Only relevant values, which is the concept called as cascading filter. Perfect. We have gone through like one of the example, like state and city, right? We have state and you do have city column, where if you select a specific state, you're able to display those cities. Understand, right? And we have gone through context filter. What exactly the context filter? So I'll quickly go through these points. Like as I said, whenever you're going to apply context filter, right? So let me remove this. So context filter is when you click on this drop down, you have an option called as add to context. When you do context filter, this will showcase in a gray color, correct? And it shows context filter list top in the filter shelf. And as I said, context filter is an independent filter. We have seen some example, right? So when you select furniture, right? When you apply context filter on top of category, we have seen some difference, right? We have gone through multiple examples. Like this is a screenshot where we applied context filter for both the filters to get proper data. But whenever you're going to apply only context filter for category, and when you apply any condition, you'll see the differentiation in the results. That's what we have gone through one of the examples. But context filter is not a regular filter. So there are cases where we can try. It's like a trial and error kind of an option where if that works fine, we can make use of context filter, correct? So it's an independent filter. And whenever you are working with context filter, make sure you'll apply, if you have any calculations, for sure that there might be an impact. You can see the differentiation in the results. So we have to be taking care of those. Check the results whether you're getting proper data or not when you apply context filter. Otherwise, you have to apply all the filters to context, okay? You can convert all the filters into context to get proper results. Clear all? So that is what we have gone through the filters, like different types of filters.
Ramesh, quick question.
Yes.
Like the cascading filters, and then when we create hierarchy,
Yes.
is there any similarities over there?
Yeah, hierarchy is the concept where we are defining parent and child, right?
Right, yeah.
Now, yes, almost like similarities, like even we'll get, see there is, let me showcase an example. This is like a parent and child. The concept is hierarchies, and we are defining we are showing relevant data. When you unselect some part of data, right? This is regarding filter, but as I said, this is one-to-many relationship. If it is many-to-many relationship, if you don't have data, that will avoid. But most of the cases, let me showcase an example like category and region. See, even though, let me apply sales. Okay. So now when you unselect, let's move this. When you unselect furniture, okay, you don't have furniture in the sheet, right? But let me go through the relevant data. Do you have any difference in the relevant data and show all values in the database? No, right? Because this is a many-to-many relationship, okay? And we have data across all the levels for all the categories, right? So if it is not a parent and child relationship, you didn't see much difference in the relevant data, right? But if it is a parent and child, correct? So you can see the differentiation in the relevant data. So that's what, but as you say, like hierarchies also, like hierarchies in general, it's a parent and child relationship. But why do we go for hierarchies is one of the advantages to perform drill down, right? So let's say you have category, you have subcategory, but when you right click, create a hierarchy, and let me add subcategory to that hierarchy. Now you're getting a kind of a plus or minus symbol, right? When you click on this minus symbol, you'll drill up, okay? We're showing across category level. But when you click on this plus symbol, this will give you kind of a drill down functionality, which is like parent and child relationship. Perfect.
Right. Yeah.
So almost the same, but we are talking about the same functionality called as parent and child. But hierarchies helps to understand what exactly the proper relationship between those attributes, like parent and child, or different level. As I said, right, you can drill down or even drill across to different directions. So that's the hierarchy we discussed. So importantly, when you have one-to-many relationship, which is a parent and child, but as we discussed, like year and region or category and region, which is not a parent and child, which is like many-to-many relationship. And with the combination of this kind of data, you didn't see much difference in the relevant data, because for each and every category we have all the regions. For each and every region we have all the categories. So which is many-to-many relationship. Still any questions? You know how to create a hierarchy, right? When you drag and drop, let's say when you drag and drop any of the column on top of any dimension, right? This will create a hierarchy. That's one quick option. Or you can right click on dimension, hierarchy, create a hierarchy. In the next concept we have gone through like group and set. This is one important differentiation, like groups and set. So we can create groups using dimensions and measures. I'll showcase one instance where, I don't create a group on top of measure, but I'll showcase what exactly the understanding of groups using measures. But I'll showcase in one instance how this will helps to understand data. Okay. But in general, we are going to group some set of dimensional elements. That is what group. Let's say, you remember, right? So you can just right click, create a group. Both the options are same, like right click, create a group or set, right? And this is group is static. You can select manually. Understand, right? Group is static. And one of the advantage in groups is in the recent times they have provided an option, as I said, right? When you create a group, in the recent times they have given an option called as this one. Find, contain, starts with, and exact match. These are the options they have provided, which helps for sure. But you can, as I said, right, we actually gone through one of the assignment, like, as I said, like create a group on top of month. And I want to see like season-wise sales, right? This is one example. So even we can create a quarter, even we can create something like customer group, right? We have done that. So group is static. Just right click on any dimension, right? Create a group. So you can select, let's say, if you want to select A related information, click on group and this will be A star. And let's say B to C, you can say BC, right? And you can include all other. So this is a manual stuff actually, like you have to create groups manually. It's up to you, like you can drop envelopes into B, BC, or you can drop fasteners into A. You can modify those changes actually. This is completely, you can create manually. It's not automatic, dynamic. Okay. But one additional point here is we can create calculation fields on top using groups. This is not possible before 10th version, but yes, we can create calculation fields. You can see we can create calculation fields using groups from 10 plus versions. We can create calculations using set. This is possible from initial phase, but for groups, this is an add-on from 10 plus version. Okay. And importantly, we have gone through set. I do feel this one very important concept, right? So we have set is a filter condition. So whenever you're going to create a set, let's say right click, create a set. This is also the similar to filter, right? General condition and top. Set is a filter condition. You can create a constant set, conditional set, and as you know, right, one important point we discussed, right? The top 5 and bottom 5 cells in one single sheet, which is one of the important interview question, right? So if someone asks like how to create top 5 and bottom 5 in one single sheet, so you have to create a set and we can modify that. Any questions on that? So to create top 5 set, as you know, right? So right click, create a set, go to top. Same, like what exactly the filter we created, right? Top 5. Create a top 5 set and right click, create a set, go to top, drop down bottom 5. Understand, right? So, and don't drop both the sets into filter. As I said, you have to select both top and bottom 5 set, right click, and you have to create a combined set to get reflected, right? So if you want to see those options, like all members in both the sets, which you have to select both top 5 and bottom 5 to get reflected in the sheet level. Perfect. So that's very important, right? So to display top 5 and bottom 5 cells in one single sheet. And there's an option called as show set. which we discussed, right? When you create any set, right click, create a set, you have an option to have show filter. You can use the same set as a filter, and you can use the same set show set option. Okay, so that's one important point. So when you show set, you have an option. You can change in general. You're changing the set actually. Okay, that option is there from IDOFIL from 2018 or 2019 version. So they have introduced this particular option. But importantly, you can create a set. One important point is like to display top fine, bottom fine, one single sheet. The possible solution is like we have to use set. Perfect. This is a quick revision where hope it helps a lot, and we have seen actions. Probably I'll go through actions again in the next class. Okay, but I hope you understand the flexibility of actions, right? One of the advantage of action is like more interactive. You don't want to go for a, yes, it helps a lot if you, even though we have filters, but one of the advantage, like if you have a yeah, let me create quickly. Okay, so just for basically this is for more interactive. Okay, so I have a sheet 7 which is category or source sheet, and if you want to create a target sheet, right, let's say subcategory level sheet. But we have options, different options in the actions. As I said, we can create actions in the sheet level and dashboard level. So most of the cases we are going to use dashboard level actions. So you can drop sheet 7 and drop sheet 8. So the question is like, can we use only sheet 7 as source and this is target? No. As I showed in the last class, like you can use any one of the sheet as a source and target, even though if it is not like a, don't consider like it's not like a parent and child from higher level to lower level. You can go through any level, right? So dashboard, actions, we have filter action, okay? Filter action, and you can select sheet 7 as source and sheet 8 as target. I'll tell you what exactly the menu, right? And you can also, I'll also showcase what exactly the single select, okay? In the next class. But generally we do go for select, okay? So when you click, this will filter out the data. When you unselect, again, this will come back to the actual position, right? I mean, clearing the selection will display all the values. So this is more interactive. Instead of going for the traditional filter, selecting drop-down checkboxes, you are interacting with the visualization. That's what the advantage of actions. Okay. So in the dashboard level, it is more flexible actually. But we are going to discuss importantly like highlight action, URL action. There are other additional concepts, right? We'll go through that in the next class. Clear all? So this is what we have done so far. And let me know if you have any questions, as I said, right? I hope it helps a lot, the kind of a revision we have done today. But still, any inputs? Any questions?
Anish,
Yes.
could you please show me one more time how to create the folders?
Folder, yes, good. So basically, that's a good point. Because when you load the data, when you right click, this will disable folders, right? But above the folder, you have group by, okay? So in the group by, it is grouping by data source table, okay? When you scroll up, you can see tables right here.
Okay.
When you, instead of grouping by data source table, if you select folder, now you can see folders on top. So then you can right click on, let's say customer name. Now this is enabled, create a folder.
Okay.
Now, if you want to add some other like customer ID to folders, add to folder, existing folder, you can add.
Okay.
But the first important point is like group by folder, not data source table.
Data source. Okay. Thank you.
Still, any questions? Try to practice set, okay? Sets, that concepts are very important. I mean, the differentiation between group and set, I understand. But I do feel it helps a lot in real time. Groups are easy, it's fine. But yes, at least if you do one time, that helps a lot. But this is very important, like constant set, conditional set, and combined set, right? So, and anyhow, as I said, actions, it helps a lot. Actions, and the next concept is parameters. But yes, we have more interesting things in actions, URL actions, and additional concepts. Then after we'll start parameters, okay? So we have parameters, and parameters plays a major role in Tableau. So we have filters. Similar to that, we have parameters. What exactly the parameter? What is the advantage of parameter? We'll go through in the next classes. Any questions so far? Please try to spend some time and at least go through the whatever we have discussed, right? Go through those things, and yeah. If you don't have any questions, we'll connect in the next one. Clear on?
Okay. So Ramesh, are you gonna send this video?
Yes.
The video.
Yes.
Hmm?
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.